But my focus for this week, I'm gonna focus on, staying on top of my case. And that's actually something I gotta give you, kudos for and credits for, because I got that from you. I know when I say staying on top of my case, people just take it at face value, but it's actually an acronym. C.A.A.S.E stands for consistency, accountability, adjustment, sacrifice, and execute. So, I have to stay consistent, first of all. I can't really just go through my test, do one, give it full energy. Even if I'm focusing on one test, I can't just hit one question, first question, full energy, because some of these tests, I had 100 question test today. Couldn't hit
Oh,
that first question, give it full energy, and by the time I get to the 100, I just, I ain't get C in a while. Let me hit that C. Couldn't do that. I had to be consistent with the effort I was giving to it. I had to hold myself accountable. I have to finish out. I can't come back. I mean, I could. It's an option, but I don't want to. I got to hold myself accountable for my grades. My parents not on my back no more. I'm a grown man now. So they can't just be on my, hey, Nahab, you have to study. Nahab, you have to try. Can't do that no more. I have to make adjustments. My old studying methods where I can have my phone on me wasn't working. I'm not going to lie
yeah,
to you. I get one notification, I'm gone. At least 20
yeah.
minutes. At least 20 minutes so I can turn my phone off. I have to sacrifice. I
So
wanted
let
to
me
go
ask you
out
this,
this
like,
past
so
week.
hold on, so let me ask you this, like, you say you've done pretty well,
Yeah,
right? Not trying to brag too much, but you say you've been doing pretty well on these finals, like that's a big deal. So
yeah.
I've taken a final or two where that it didn't quite go the way that I planned, right? So
Mhm.
just like in your preparation, like where the consistency kick in, like where like the accountability kick in the preparation before you got to the final, like what did that look like for you?
Well, the consistency, honestly, that was easy. For me, consistency just meant you got to keep on studying, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love me some anime and I love me some Netflix. Every single chance I'm in my dorm, I get a free time. I want to watch some Netflix, Netflix or Hulu, watch some anime or some type of source. I got rid of my game system before the semester start because I thought that's gonna distract me. Netflix took up some time this year, so the
Okay.
consistency was just like, hey man, you got to get these studies going. So now I go to bed late already. So I do my homework till about midnight, but from midnight till about 2 a.m., I'm watching some Netflix. So the consistency was just, hey, stay to that schedule, study until midnight. And as far as me, I had to hold myself accountable to that. I had nobody else to just say, hey, you told yourself you're gonna study till midnight. That's partially because I didn't reach out to somebody. So hindsight being 2020, I probably should have done that because I had one or two slip ups, but the results showed that it worked. And I definitely sacrificed a little bit. I had to give up some time. A couple of my friends like to go out to brunch on Sunday. I wasn't at brunch this Sunday. I was studying. I was in the library yesterday, so that was that. But as far as focusing on case, because I just did a full breakdown for me. When you think about these words, consistency, accountability, adjustment, sacrifice, and execution, what comes to mind? Because, like I said, I stole that from you, Carlos.
Absolutely, man. It's just one of those things. I just feel like these are like the five like just core principles. When you're talking about trying to achieve a goal, trying to get somewhere, just being consistent, right? Just continuously repeated quality performance over an extended period of time, right? And it's like, okay, what does that look like? And it really just comes down to me, just my consistency kicks in and they're like, man, coach, you on 10 every day. You talking about it's a
Yeah.
work day every day, man. Like how does it get there? I'm like, man, every day, right? Every day I just try to do the very best I can. Like,
Hmm.
and it's really that simple, right? I try to be the very best Coach Marcus James Washington I can be every single day. Like, just holding myself to that high standard. So tomorrow, when I wake up, right, I try to be better today than I was yesterday,
Hmm. So,
right? And
so
so
let's take
I
it.
just
Let's take
like,
it a step further. Do
okay,
you think? Let's see how they link. Do you think you can have consistency without accountability?
you
Hmm.
can, but it's tough. And
Yeah.
when you said you were holding yourself accountable, anybody that can hold themselves accountable to a high level, you're operating at a high level. Because it can
Hmm.
be difficult, right? The average person, you'll let yourself down in a heartbeat. But me personally, I've kind of grown the stamina over time. I haven't
Yeah.
always been this way. Over time, I'm able to hold my own self accountable to a high standard. But there's nothing wrong with having somebody else to hold you accountable, right?
I
There's certain
like what you
areas of
said
my
there.
life, yeah, there's certain areas of my life where I ask my wife to hold me accountable, like financially, right?
Hmm.
Like a couple of years ago, financially, I was struggling. Like that just wasn't one of my strong points, and I had to humble myself and be like, "Hey, like, love you, right? So I don't like when I'm seeing in my account right now. Like, but you be killing this. Like, you're
Yeah.
really good at budgeting. saving money, get just credit, like all that was just phenomenal. But I had to humble myself and be like, okay, I'm not doing well in this area. I'm married to somebody that is. Just ask her, to hold you accountable.
Help
Just
you out.
the little things, so I can stay consistent. And really, I did that a couple years ago, and it's definitely been a game changer for me. So sometimes there's nothing wrong with that. If you're not strong in a particular area, humble yourself. Ask somebody to hold you accountable to do what it is that you want to do. And sometimes it's just checking on you. Hey, just asking about you, asking, checking on these certain things.
That's crazy because originally going into that question, I was of a different mindset, right? You said you think it's possible, but it's hard. I can see that now, but my mindset was the two are almost inseparable, right? They come together. You cannot be consistent. I mean, I'm saying if you're not consistent, you cannot call yourself accountable to yourself. How can you say I'm accountable to the progress I'm making if I'm inconsistent? And vice versa. How can you say that I'm consistent if I'm not accountable, right? If you're supposed to do 50 reps or 50 push-ups each day and you do 20 today, you say I'm gonna hit the other 30 tonight and you don't do it, that's not accountable. But I could see the train of thought you had when you said that. It's possible, it's doable. You can still achieve results without it. But you were saying earlier, you've been growing and you had to reach out to your wife. As far as financials, that was not what you was good in. You married to somebody who was good with it. You had to, hey, but you had to help me out here. I'm not good with it. I like that, and I think what you said earlier, where you're focusing on putting systems into motivate you. I think that was you putting a system into your life. You already had your wife in your life, right? But now you had that system that was going to continuously hold you accountable while helping you grow. That's speaking of that system, how you're putting it there. And, even if you're not intentionally knowing what it's going to do down the line, I promise you the rewards you've reaped of it to this day is because that system has stayed in place.
Absolutely. Like you hit it head on, right? So when you talk about accountability, it doesn't have to be a person, right? It's awesome if it's a person, but sometimes I know you're in an environment where you're like, man, nobody is operating on my high frequency right now. I got a lot of to get some. You don't want to make an excuse like, hey, I don't have anybody around me to hold me accountable. I can't get to where I'm trying to go. No, you can't. But like you said, you have a place in the system holds you accountable, right? I have something in place where I said I was going to do it, and it holds me accountable, right? So the system, it can be, just something as simple as setting an alarm in your phone, right? I said I was going to do this task today. Let me set the task at 2 p.m. to go off, and it's going to tell me that's the equivalent of somebody telling you, hey, did you do such and such today, right? Just having that. So sometimes you gotta get creative and what the accountability looks like.
And the crazy thing, we talked about, as far as me focusing on my case, the acronym is more than that. And I talked about how this weekend I had to sacrifice little things such as like going to brunch or hanging out with my friends. I want you to give us a personal example, right? So when we're looking at sacrifice, a lot of young cats feel like they might be sacrificing something simply because, I spent 10 minutes doing push-ups today. I hit weight. I was in the gym for 20 minutes. But in hindsight, they was just laying in bed. So give us a personal example from your personal life, whether it was going to play ball in college or whether it's making the transition to what you're doing now. What did you have to sacrifice when you decided to change for whatever direction you changed? What did you have to sacrifice?
It really hits home with me. Like out of all of them are definitely important, but the sacrifice, it really hits home with me. Because I have a son, right? My son is 14 years old now, all right? And so I had my son was born my freshman year in college. And so now, he's older now, and I was coaching in high school. I was coaching at C.A.A.S.E for a couple of years now, right? But I didn't like the relationship I had with my son, right? And because I'll be honest, right, in the state of Texas, right, the way things were set up, I'm the non-custodial parent. Like he lives with his mom, and
no, I'm sorry to cut you off right quick. I see I got some hate on my jersey. I'm a Patriots fan, but this is a Larry Legend jersey right here. It's hard to hate on this. It's a Larry Legend. It's Cardinals jersey. Not a Falcons. I agree with you. Falcons are Poochies. We can never forget that 28-3 that my Patriots did to them. My Patriots did them 28-3. That comeback, I can't forget that. It's Larry Legend. It's hard to hit on that, man. You can go ahead, Coach. I just had to set my boy Dominique right quick. Even worse.
Even worse. Uh, man, yeah. Shout out to the Cardinals. Uh, now my son, man, like I want a better relationship with my son, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But because he was little with his mom, I was only seeing him on a weekend. It's like every time he comes with me, it's like fun time, weekend dad. I'm like, nah, like I want to help raise you, right? But I
Yeah.
had to put myself in a position to be around them more, right? So I'm working at Chavez High School, which is like an hour away from where I live, and where probably about an hour and 20 minutes away from where he lives, and it was just like a schedule conflict for me, right? So I had to sacrifice my job, and actually took a pay cut to
Mm-hmm.
move to a district and move to a school that was closer to him, right? And so I'm taking less money. I'm making less money, and I actually moved into a house where my rent actually went up. So I'm taking less money, and I'm paying more,
More.
and my expenses went up,
Mm-hmm.
and like even my coaching position, like I was coaching like the whole secondary over there. And the school I'm at now, Marshall, although it's the school I graduated from, they're like, hey, coach, we don't have any defensive positions. Like, you're going to have to coach a position that you've never played before, that you've never
Yeah.
coached before. But for me, I was like, all right, cool. I don't care, right? Because it's going to put me in a position to have a better relationship with my son, right? And so that was my sacrifice, right? Having to give up my salary, give up my position, give all of that up because it was something that was more important, which is my relationship with my son. So now me moving closer to him. Now instead of just getting him on the weekend, now I'm able to get him in the middle of the week. So now I have him during
Yeah.
the week. Now it's more time, but that would not have been possible working a job I was at, living where I was at. I gave that up. Salary went down, expenses went up, but sacrifice is the act of giving up something valued for the sake of something else regarded as more important, right? The relationship with my son was more important than my salary, more important than my expenses. I had to give that up, and it's so crucial now. Just understanding that definition
Mm-hmm.
and how it ties to success, right? You're going to have to give something up first.
And sometimes you can't
Before
put a financial value on that.
you can't, but it's the concept of
Yeah.
before I have a goal that I want to get to, right? But before you get to that goal, you have to give up something first.
Yeah.
That's not something a lot of people want to do. They're like, hold on, I got to
Yeah.
give up something first before I receive something. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's faith. Like how much faith do you have in
Yeah.
yourself, in how success works? But it's like that every single time, right? And I'll give you this example, right? I love examples, and once I say it like this, it's gonna be super simple. All
Mm-hmm.
right. So when you go to the store to buy something, right? And say you going to the dollar store, buy some candy. What's your favorite candy?
I mean, I like those little. People call them the granny candies, the little strawberry candy that come in the strawberry pack and the little Philly. I love those. I mean, they call me old for it, but I love those strawberry candies.
Bro, can you even buy those? Like you buy those anymore? Like
I
like where
I
you get
haven't
that from?
seen them in the store in a long. They always just pop up. I don't know where I get
Yeah,
them, but they just pop up.
yeah. No lie, I like those too. No lie.
Hmm.
But but if you're going to the store if you're going to the store to buy those, right? It's a pack of those. When you walk into the store, you can't just pick up that pack of strawberry candies and walk out.
Yeah.
You can't, like, you have to give them something of value first. You have to give up your money, and they'll say, okay, you can have this. Like success works the same way. Like you have to give that up, and then you will receive. Like you can't finesse, you can't steal success. Like that's not the way that works.
I'm never gonna hear the end of this strawberry candy thing now, but I think exactly what you said right there was the perfect exemplification of it. You're making a deposit to be withdrawn at a future date, and that withdrawal is going to draw from that deposit after you've gone through that. There's a quote that somebody told me a while back. They said you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and I think that's what the sacrifice is. The sacrifice is, for instance, if you're going away to play football, you have dreams of making it to the league one day. Sometimes you might have to leave state. You might have to leave your family. And for a lot of athletes, for instance, you said you had your son when you was a freshman in college, I believe. You had to make that sacrifice because you saw a future, you saw something else, right? And once you switched over, you had to make another sacrifice, or you had to take less pay in order to be closer to him. And That's what I'm saying with sacrifice. Some cats feel like they're making a lot of sacrifice, but they're giving the bare minimum. And I promise you, reap what you sow. If you give the bare minimum, if you deposit $1, you're not going to be able to take more than $1 out of that account. And that's exactly what it is. You had to move somewhere, take less to reap something of higher value. I like that. I like that.
Hey, say man, hey, you preaching?
I'm
Hey,
trying. I'm trying. I had
he
to make
on,
y'all
because
forget that little candy thing.
it's nah, it's so true, man. Like there's a price tag for everything, even your own success. It's just a matter of how much are you willing to pay, right? I love the example you just gave again. Like going into the store, man. I see this shirt right here, and it's a nice shirt, man. Like shirt say
Mm-hmm.
$55 is nice though, right? You
See?
can't you can But you can't take this $55 shirt up to the counter and say, "All right, I got a 20, right? Let's
20,
make this
yeah.
work." And be like, "Nah, family, like you need 35 more, right?"
Same
And
thing
so
with
if
them
you're not
weights.
if you're not seeing the success that you want, man, I'm not getting there. You ain't giving
Yeah.
enough up. You're not
Mhm.
sacrificing enough.
Absolutely.
They said denied. No, sir. You need some more. I need you to give up some more so you can get what you're trying to get, right?
Hmm.
I absolutely love it, right? And the last one, man, execution, right? Let me
Yeah.
see where you heard at with this. Just say we're in the weight room, man. You look like a pretty buff guy. All right, so if you
No.
if you're in the,
Got
if
some
you're in the weight
juice in
room, man,
here.
let me ask you this: like, if you're in the weight room, would you say it's more important to lift a heavy amount of weights or to have good technique, like to lift heavy weights incorrectly or lift less weight incorrectly? Like where you at? Like you lifting
Now,
heavy or do I just need good technique?
you might gotta correct me on this one, but I've always been of the mindset, if you want bigger muscles, you gotta go a little heavier. Now, maybe you might have to coach me on this, but my mindset on it right now, maybe my mindset on it. If I'm benching 50 and somebody else benching 100, the progress for 100 might come a little quicker. So, I mean, me personally, I'm trying to grab the 100 pounds.
See, and you one of them guys that catch in the weight room, and I see him trying to lift something heavy because he trying to stomp with the big boys, and I'm like, and you struggling, like it just looks bad. You probably about to hurt yourself. Hey, family, hey, just go down. Like it's
Yeah.
okay. Like you got to start somewhere. Like go down on the weight a little bit, and so you can do it correctly, right? And honestly, you're actually going to get further doing a little less weight, but doing it correctly, getting the full range of motion, getting everything out of it, as opposed to
Hmm.
halfway doing something, right? So you're actually not executing unless you're doing it correctly, unless you're doing the full exercise correctly, right? So I say put the heavy weight down, go down a little bit, so you can actually execute the exercise, the lift, whatever it is that you're trying to do.
I like that. Again, and that's the benefit of having conversations like this with people who have different perspectives than yourselves. But as far as execution go, I'm always thinking if I'm executing, I just have to do, you know, and it says a lot when you start thinking about having to do it properly. Like my mindset previous to this is just 100 pounds get you a little bit more jacked, a little quicker. You want those juice pumping, you want those veins walking through, running through your arms. So when you want to walk by some ladies, it's like, hold on, that man look good. But I'm thinking now, like, hey, complete shout out to you. I'm gonna ignore Dom because he said school me on that, but I appreciate that. I appreciate that. No, like knowledge is absolute power, but execution, even in real life, there's more to be said about doing it properly than just doing it. Jumping in there, while you should be credited for starting, you should never receive full credit for doing something improper, and that's something I can appreciate. So this
Absolutely, absolutely.
as far as for me for this week, I was focusing on my case again. With everything that encompassed of it, and I was not missing any aspect of it. Consistency. I was being absolutely consistent and intentional about everything I did. I was being accountable. I was adjusting my focus. I was adjusting the way I was studying. I sacrificed some a little bit. I mean, I saved some money. I didn't go out to brunch. That's money I didn't spend, but I sacrificed that time out with my friends. And that's something. But the bigger rewards that I reaped was that I passed all of my finals, and that's something I absolutely love. And even with execution, I had to be intentional about what I did on my papers, on my test. But I appreciate that, and I actually even got something from the conversation, and I can appreciate that. And I think all of our listeners got something, even if they recognize that you cannot hate on Larry Legend and the Cardinals. But it's that time, Coach. It's around that time where we shut it down for a little bit. So I gotta ask, like I always do, have you focused and addressed on your 7 daily targets today?
Man, again, I keep on saying that just in all areas. I'll say my physical. I'll say the one that I lacked today was my physical, right? Typically, I hop in the workout with the kids. Man, I'm up the bench like 255 now, man. So I usually get the workout in, but I was spectating today. So I'm gonna have to like hit some crunches or something before I hop in the
Mhm.
shower today. So, man, so just get my get my physical in. But anybody like, because I heard you say it before, you like, man, 7 areas of health. I focus on them daily. I've been doing it so long that I can.
Mhm.
But for anybody that says, man, that's a lot, right? Spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, physically, socially, occupationally, and financially, that's a lot to focus on every single day, right? There's 7 areas of health and wellness. How many days are in a week?
7.
7 days in a week. All right. So if you got to start somewhere, which all of us do, on Sunday, let me focus on my spiritual,
Yeah.
right? On Monday, I focus on the area of health, right? And you just do that over time, and guess what? You keep being consistent
From my home.
over time. If you keep being consistent, working on them every week over time, now you're like, okay, now today I can work on my spiritual and my emotional, right? You just kind of build up to the point where now you're focusing on all of them, ultimately wanting to reach your full potential, right? But what about you? What about you? Right? How have you focused on addressing your 7 daily targets in this final exam week that you in, man?
The only thing I've done it to the best of my abilities, but I will say I have faltered. We have to accept that and be truthful of that. The area where I faltered was one on the physical, and two on the social, right? So, like I said, I could have gone out, spent some time with my friends, but I'm gonna make up for that now that I know these finals before Saturdays come. But the physical is because I've been doing something I haven't done a lot. That's consuming a lot of these energy drinks. I
Ooh,
know,
I'm guilty.
not the best things for you.
Hey,
Listen,
nah,
I was
I'm
staying up
guilty.
late.
I'm guilty. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
I
I'm
was
guilty.
consuming those energy drinks, staying up late, but that's because I was dedicated to my process. I was dedicated to,
Gotcha.
studying. I was dedicated to being consistent. And like I said, I like to stay up till like at least midnight before I go ahead and get off the homework. But there was a couple of nights I had to go past that. And I'm not gonna lie, coach. Some of these they helped me out.
Bro,
I
what
mean,
flavor is that? Bro, what flavor is that? Like the purple guy? Like,
the ultraviolet, but it's great. It's great. I'm one of those dudes that like the grape. When I was in the world of drinking soda, I drank grape soda.
gotcha. The purple kind. That's what they
The
say. The purple.
yeah, the
Purple.
purple one, the purple flavor.
Gotcha.
But before we go ahead and head out today, we would not be doing our viewers any due diligence if I did not ask you any closing remarks for our viewers today.
Man, if I had to share one thing, man, it's the last principle that we talked about, just execution, right? Shout out to Kendall Ficklin, my coach, the coach that has helped me, level up in so many areas. Excuse me, man. As far as when it comes to executing, right? Nothing is going to come to you until something comes from you.
Oof. Yeah, that's good. Say let's get that one more time. I like that.
Yeah, you know I was gonna repeat it.
Yeah.
So nothing is gonna come to you until something comes from you. You have to take action, right? If it's somewhere in your life that you're kind of lacking, I'm not really seeing the results that I want to see. Are you taking action in that specific area, right? And I'm a living testament. I told myself this last week, right? It was, in regards to my business, I'm making some adjustments. It's like, am I taking action in this specific area? And I'm like,
Mm.
no. Well, guess what? You're not going to see any results unless you're taking action, right? So nothing is going to come to you until
Till
something comes
something
from
comes
you.
from you.
You have to take action. Take action.
I love that. I love that. I love that. That's a great, great message to take away from it. You can only pull out of that account what you deposit in. And if by some way you
Mm,
manage to get money, that's credit. It's got to go back.
mm.
You got to pay it back plus some. So
Oh, hold on. Hey, wait a minute.
come
Hey,
on,
stop this. Stop the.
come
Hey,
on.
stop. Say family. I say that. Hey, I love that one. I might
I'm
steal that
trying to
one. I
leave
ain't gonna
these
lie.
people
I'm
off
gonna steal that
of
one.
a word. I'm trying to leave them off of a word. Nothing can come out of that account. You can't withdraw what you did not put in. And if you put something in, that's the limit of what you can withdraw.
Ooh,
If you take something without putting anything in, you're going to have to pay it back and then some.
ooh.
And I promise you, that's how it is. That's the truth of the world. That's the truth of your bank account. I'm trying, dog. I'm trying. That's the truth of the world. That's the truth of economics. That's the truth of your reality. That's just